What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bets on Bets on Bets, the official sports betting show for the NFL and the Off the Ball Network. Week 4, and we have been profitable so far. We got a 10-8 record, just over a unit of profit. We're coming off a tough week, though, last week, Walker. How we feeling today?
Yeah, I feel better. I actually like the car. I think I even said, I may not have said it in our group chat, but I said it somewhere else that going into last week, I felt like the card was really tough. And that there weren't a lot of just like great spots. But I do feel like this card is a lot more accessible and there's some better spots and there's some sides that I feel more strongly about than last week. So I'm excited.
That's kind of where I'm at. We've had a lot of steep spreads over the first 3 weeks, and then it feels like outside of a couple outliers, there's a lot of field goal spreads that you can actually play. Feels like we're starting to get the over-unders back into a spot that are a lot more manageable as well. And so we're gonna get right into it. Walker, let's do what we do every week. 3 best bets for today. What's your first one?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll start at Lambeau. I'm playing the Vikings against the spread against the Packers. Then the numbers bounced around. I played 3. If it pops to 3.5 with Jordan Love being active, I like it even more. I just think even with Love on the field, it's going to be tougher for him to move around, kind of on a quick return off of a leg injury. So I do think Flores' defense is going to have a chance to tee off, create pressure, and create negative plays for a Packers offense that doesn't really thrive. They run kind of that Shanahan style offense, which is what Flores has had success against in the first few weeks. I'm also not a subscriber to the idea that Sam Darnold is going to be bad just because he was once bad. I think in football today at multiple levels, I think just because you were once bad doesn't mean that you're always going to be bad, and vice versa. Is probably more true than it's ever been. So I like Darnold. Darnold's been on time. He's been accurate. He's made good decisions. I think that's a recipe for success against the Packers defense that's had to create turnovers to win football games. And their 2 wins so far this year, they've been at least +2 in the turnover margin. The one game where they were not that way, they lost. So
That's rude. Yeah, I mean, also Packers secondary is going to be pretty banged up today. Like Jair Alexander, he's questionable, so he's not going to be 100%. Carrington Valentine, he's doubtful as well. So pretty banged up secondary for the Packers. Love coming off the injury, maybe a little bit rusty as well. I like the spot. Wish that it could get to a full field goal, but even at 2.5, I think Minnesota's got a good shot at winning this one outright. My first bet today is probably going to sound really gross to a lot of people, and it's from your AFC South and that big divisional game that you guys have today, not the Titans, but the Jags. I'm taking their team total over 19.5 at -115. Look, I think Doug Peterson's coaching for his job this week, especially if they get blown out. Like, he may not get canned if it's a close game, but look, they need to get that offense going. Houston, they gave up a ton of points last week too. That Minnesota offense, I still don't think that they're great defensively, which is kind of what held me off from wanting to take any futures on them to go deep in the playoffs or anything. So I think the Jags get it going a bit today. That Houston defense, as I said, isn't spectacular. They're 23rd in points per game. They've given up 24.7 points per game. And so, look, the Jags need this one in the worst way. Last division matchup, also the Jags won 24-21. So they have gone over this line recently. So I like the Jags just to score points today. I don't know if they win the game outright or even cover, but I do think they'll score plenty of points. What do you think of it?
yeah, I mean, I do feel like the value for the Jags has to be at the bottom of the tank. Like, I do feel like it's about as low as it can possibly be at this rate. So, and with a Texans offense that tends to be more high flying, they're going to throw the ball and be able to move it around. The Jags probably are going to be playing from behind today. So, if they're chasing points, then they should be able to score 3 touchdowns. You could easily see like a 28-21 type finish.
Yeah, it's why I didn't want to go on any spread because especially once it dipped to 5.5, I was hoping that it was going to get up to a full TD. Then I might have dove in, but seeing that now, I prefer the team total. I think that they'll score plenty, even if it is garbage time stuff. A win's a win, and that's what I'm looking for. So, what's your second play for today?
Yeah, I'm playing the Colts against the Steelers at home. I just think again, like I'm going to keep going back to the well here. Like I'm still fairly skeptical of the Steelers stuff. I know Fields has been better. The Colts defense is not good. They're going to struggle stopping the run. I know all that stuff. But I do think we'll get a better outing from the defense today, and I do think there is a point buying Anthony Richardson against the Steelers defense is a scary proposition. And for a lot of people, They may even say a silly proposition, but we're going to do it. So I like the Colts at home today. I think it's a good spot. I do think they're just going to continue to trend upwards. People forget a lot of times with rookie quarterbacks, which I know this is technically his second year, but with him not playing at all last year, this is basically serving as his rookie season. There is going to be highs and lows, and he's had some lows and stuff like that. The good thing about the Steelers is they do what they do, and they're going to play a lot of man coverage, and they're going to give Anthony Richardson a chance to kind of throw the ball deep and do some different things that he actually tends to do really well. He may not have to be as on time and just pinpoint accurate as he has been in the last few weeks. So I do think the Colts offense does enough today. I think they get home. I think they start building some momentum and start winning some football games.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Colts scoring points today, and I do think that the Steelers offense may be starting to figure it out, which is why I'm actually playing a play in this game as well, which is the over 39.5 at minus 115. It's even shifted to 40.5 now. I still like that. When they played last year, it was 30-13. Obviously, a couple different QBs in at that time. I think it was Pickett, and then they would have had Minshew in at that time. But look, I think that this is a really good spot for the Colts offense to get going. Richardson's going to have to make some plays with his legs. We know that, especially with TJ Watt, breathing down his neck. And I think both teams go over 20 points today. I think this could be one of those low-key shootouts that people aren't looking at. They assume, well, Richardson's going to struggle against that defensive line of the Steelers. But I think he makes a couple good throws today. They score some points, and we go on the over at 39.5. So let's get a Colts win 28-21, and then both of us are happy. That's what we're looking for here today.
I would take like 31-10.
All right. I can accept that.
I'll just take the Colts scoring a bunch of points and the Steelers giving you enough to hit the over.
Okay, love that. What's your third one?
Yeah, and then we're also playing the Bears. This just feels like a pure spot. I mean, they're coming back home. The Bears have been a little bit shaky here lately. Caleb's had some struggles. They're back home against a Rams team that has been up and down. They're not just super impressive. The Bears defense should be able to lock in here and get a bunch of stops, and I think Caleb Williams is going to be able to make enough throws against a mediocre Rams defense to get him home. A field goal is surely not enough. I think the Bears win this one going away. I think the Bears win this one by 10 in a game that they control for the entirety of the game.
Yeah, it does feel like, look, that Bears defense, it hasn't been spectacular against the run, but look, Stafford's not throwing anybody today. He doesn't have Puka, still doesn't have Kupp. It's going to be Tyler Johnson, Demarcus Robinson. I've got faith in the Bears. Being able to create a turnover or two off Stafford, maybe get some points out of that. And then, honestly, my favorite touchdown play today is DJ Moore, just because Caleb's been leaning on him. I know they've got a Dunze, and now they've got Keenan Allen in the lineup, but it does feel like DJ's due to get in the end zone today, so that's one that I'm looking at. So hopefully he gets in the end zone and the Bears cover that -3. I like that spot, and I'm kind of just fading the Rams at this point just because that offense is so banged up, and I don't love that defense overall. So my final play, I'm going to go to Falcons -2.5 against the Saints. I think that we're still overvaluing the Saints. Like, I know that the score wasn't a blowout last week, but the Eagles dominated that game. It felt like from start to finish, you never truly felt like they weren't going to win that game. And I think that Atlanta, they've had a tough start to the season. Like the Eagles win was big, but then you had the Kansas City loss and the opening loss to the Steelers. So I think this is a get right spot for them. They know that they have to pick up a divisional win like this, because if not, then they're falling behind a couple games early, and that's not a spot you want to be in. I'm also just very high on the Falcons in general. I think they're going to finish with 10 or 11 wins at worst. So I think this is the spot where they get right and they end up covering this. I think they win something like 24-17 today. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I do think there's some truth in that you can build some momentum from a loss, and I thought they played really well last week. I think if they kind of repeat that effort at home, that they should be able to play again. They should be able to beat the Saints really with no issues. So I like the Falcons today as well. I've seen a lot of Saints love. They're kind of public doggy today. So I like the Falcons at home on the fast track. The offense should get going. Bijan should have a big day.
I love it. Well, that caps things off for today. So Walker's on the Colts, the Bears, and Minnesota. I'm on the Jags team total, the Indy Pitt over, and Atlanta -2.5. Be sure to check out betalytics.com. Use promo code OTBN for 25% off. They've got touchdown plays, player props, game lines, all that stuff. A couple of those plays for me today. There's getting some love over there from Betalytics. So be sure to go and check them out. And appreciate everyone who tuned into the show. We'll see you guys next week. for bets on bets on bets.